For this lesson, we are going to be talking about the scientific tools. You will need to get your pictures of tools. They're all, and cut them apart. So these are some of the examples of some of the little tools. You will need to get your descriptions of the scientific tools, and I've cut all mine apart. So looking for the descriptions. You're going to want to get your picture of your science tools to help us, and your scientific tool chart. While you are doing that, you'll want to pause the video. You're going to cut apart all of your little pieces. So cut all your individual science tools apart and cut all their descriptions apart. These are the only two papers that you're going to keep whole. When you've cut all that apart, come back and press play. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the graduated cylinder. So you're going to look for the graduated cylinder. This is a tool that is used to measure liquid. Scientists will use it to measure small amounts of liquid. It's usually in milliliters. So we're going to go ahead and find our graduated cylinder and put it underneath the picture of the tool. Now, if you need to pause again to find it, pause the video and then hit play when you're ready. How do we use this tool? This tool measures volume, or the amount of space that something takes up. Volume is like liquid. It tells us how much space it takes up. So if I'm measuring a liquid, I would pour it into my graduated cylinder to see how many milliliters or liters or ounces it is. For an example of this, we're going to write over here, measures milliliters, and we're going to add that it measures liquid. Now, not all graduated cylinders are in milliliters, but many of them are. The next tool that a scientist uses are measuring spoons, and you might recognize this tool because your mom or dad or grandma might have these in their kitchen. We use these to measure small amounts of different types of ingredients when we're cooking, and scientists use it if they're going to measure different types of solutions. Okay, so this would be the measuring spoons. They come in different sizes. And then this is also going to be measuring volume, or the amount of space that it takes up. So it's going to measure how much of that item it takes up. In your kitchen, you might use it for like cinnamon or salt or spices. Usually when we're using a measuring spoon, we're measuring things in teaspoons or in tablespoons. Now tablespoons are bigger. So this might be like a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon, and a fourth of a teaspoon. All right, the next tool that a scientist uses, and I bet you've seen these before, are a pan balance. And that's exactly what this is. There's a pan on each side, and there's a balance in the middle. So the scientist would put an object on one side, and then they put grams on the other side, or kilograms or milligrams, and they try to make sure that the line in the middle is balanced. Once it's balanced, they can tell how much the item weighs. You might have used one of these in your classrooms before. So these are called a pan balance. You have to use weights on one side. You don't just put it on the scale to see how much it weighs. So this tool measures an object's weight or mass. Mass is another word for weight. So when you go to the doctor and they see how much you weigh, that's called your mass. Okay. So one of the things is it has to be equal and balanced when you're going to measure with a pan balance, and you have to use weights on one side. Sometimes we use milligrams, grams, and kilograms, usually not many times a kilogram. Again, if you need to pause the video at any time, go ahead and pause. When you're finished, we're going to go ahead and flip to the back and do the next set of tools. So if you want to go ahead and start to look for the next set, we're going to find a measuring tape, a measuring cup, and a spring scale. A measuring tape, I'm sure you've seen one of these before. A measuring tape, most of the time the tape rolls up inside and you pull it out and then it goes back in. But sometimes these are just loose and you roll them up and you use a measuring tape to measure how long or wide or deep something is. And what's nice about a measuring tape is it's bendable. So you can measure around an object because you can bend it. So our description for the measuring tape is exactly that. This tool is used to measure length, width, height, or depth. So length, width, height, or depth. And it's useful for measuring curved objects. Again, if I want to measure around a ball or a pumpkin or something else, I can take a measuring tape and wrap it around it. Okay, give you a second to get that done. For our examples, we're going to write around a ball. We also can add that we could measure a distance across a room. Because a measuring tape is long, we can go further on the distance of it. The next tool that we're going to talk about is a measuring cup. And you might have seen one of these before in your kitchen. Just like the measuring spoons, we use a measuring cup to measure liquid. So if I'm going to make some macaroni and cheese, I might pour the milk in my measuring cup to make sure that I get the right amount. This would be used to measure a larger amount of liquid than the graduated cylinder was. Graduated cylinders on the front were littler amounts. A measuring cup can measure larger. So this tool measures volume, or the amount of space that something takes up. Again, volume is like liquid. A measuring cup measures in ounces, which is abbreviated OZ. It's also measuring with cups, which is C. And this is a larger amount of liquid than the graduated cylinder was. All right, and the last on this page is a spring scale. So this is a spring scale. You would attach the top of the spring scale to something like a hook, and then you would hang your item below. And as the item got heavier, the measuring piece inside would pull down, and you would be able to see how something weighs. A lot of people who fish use spring scales. So they would hang their fish off the bottom and then they would hold the top. And as the fish goes down heavy, the inside measurement pulls down and tells you how much it weighs. Then we're going to go ahead and put up our description. This tool measures an object's weight or mass. So as an example, we're going to put that this would be something that has to hang like a fish. We wouldn't measure a human's mass or weight with this. All right, so when you're done with this, we're going to go ahead and move over to the next page. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, get yourself caught up, and then go to the second one.